Hello, beautiful souls. So I've been going through a lot of emotions lately, and I do feel that it's all with this energy that's going on, with solar flares, with everything that's happening. And if you are like me, if you've been bottling up these emotions your whole life, they are definitely coming up and out for a reason. And what I was taught the other day when some of this stuff was coming up, I've been feeling like all over the place with emotions, and it was about just stop judging, just allow the emotions to go through. And yesterday, I literally woke up. I didn't even want to get out of bed. I don't know what was going on with me, but I just felt so lost. And I tried to sit there and I tried to, call in my gods, and I was meditating, and I literally just could not sit still long enough to even listen. And of course, I went into having my little pity party of, what am I supposed to do? Blah, 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 blah. And I literally was like, okay, what is going on with me? Because this is not me. This is not who I am. I know better. I have such a high perspective of all the things that are going on around the world. I know who I am and why I'm here, but why am I feeling like this? And last night I was laying there again, trying to meditate, just getting in the moment right for bed. And I literally was like, I don't know what I'm doing with myself. And I literally was like, I surrender. I give up. I give up to everything. I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my life. Here I am. I've done hypnotherapy. I've, got certified in hypnotherapy. I got certified in spiritual life coach, and certified in intuitive energy healing. Level 1 Reiki. I've got skills. I know how to do all this stuff, right? And I feel like these videos need to be raw because I don't have it all together. I'm still learning every single day. And I feel that a lot of you are going to resonate with what I'm going through because you too are going through it. And we are on this journey of awakening, but even me, I've been waking up my entire life, but I had my huge awakening in 2020 to the systems. More spiritual in 2022 when I started questioning what I thought God was. And all of that's on my channel. But, I still don't know it all. And I was told in one of my sessions one time, when I had a session with another practitioner, and the session came through, it said, Heather, if we were to tell you everything that you need to know, we would have to channel through you non-stop from the time that you're born to the time that you die, and you still won't know it all. That was mind-blowing to me. And they said, you're not meant to know everything because you are only operating from the 3D mindset. You'll never understand it all. You won't ever understand what it's like to not have time constraints because you are in 3D. You live through time. Time is your day-to-day. So a lot of the concepts that we are learning through the quantum, it's mind-blowing because it's not something that we're used to. But with all of this that's going on, with all of the energies that's coming through, everything is happening for a reason. And whether it's for the collective or for you, just allow these emotions to come up because they are short-lived. And what I'm finding is that, I go and do healing work, and whenever I get done, I'm like, cool, I feel good, whatever. And then I'm like good for a while. And it's almost like I get a vacation from all the healing, like, okay, let that integrate. And I feel so good and so high. And then all of a sudden I get dumped again. Like, here we go, going at it again. So go at it again for a little bit. And then it's like, process the emotions, allow whatever to come up. And then there's another opening. So if you are feeling that way, know you're not alone, because, you know, I literally yesterday was just like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. And I still really don't. But my higher self told me this, and I've even said this before. I had the vision about the mountain, climbing to the mountaintop and making it on the other side. So it's like I'm almost being tested right now. I have made it to the top, but that's not the end point. The end point is to start going down the mountain, but in the direction I go. Because if you imagine a mountain and you can see everything around you, there's these options. So maybe I have a bunch of paths to go down. And right now I'm at the top of the mountain and I'm like, I don't know which way to go. The paths have not been made clear yet either. So I know that I'm not ready for them because that's not been a vision yet. So as I've made it through, everybody pulling me back, having to overcome fears, doing videos more on YouTube, putting myself out there, speaking my truth of where I feel I am on my journey, and getting to the point where I am now. But now I'm sitting at the top going, okay, what do I do now? And the biggest thing for us that had a lot of childhood trauma is, you know, being an empath, we would scan the room and know the energy of the room. We already knew what to expect. You also may be like this. You always played out worst case scenarios in your head. I literally do that with anybody. If I go for an interview, especially because it's the unknown, anything that is unknown freaks us out, right? So it's like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and set up, well, what if they ask me this? What if they say that? What if they go here? You know, I want to always be prepared, but that's also living in the future. It's not living in the now. And so every time I would slip up and start going through that emotion again, I would literally get a stop. Don't do that. You don't know what they're going to say. And you're going to end up manifesting a worst case scenario if you don't stop. And I'm like, oh gosh, okay. So, you know, I've been working through a lot of that. And so anytime I have an opportunity to go and meet people or go for an interview or have a chat with someone or whatever, I just go, and every time something slips up, I know that's ego, and I'm like, nope. I'm not acknowledging you right now. I'm not going there. I don't care. We're going to let it be organic. I want to whatever unfold. And I want whatever the conversation to be organically led. And then my higher self can come through if something needs to come through and needs to be said at the time. And I'm good with that. And so I think a lot of that is a fear of control, a fear of the unknown. And so if you are going through that, that's also something I feel is getting liberated right now. A lot of us are going through that emotion. So if this resonates with you, this is just for you to heal and let go of, to not worry about the outcome, to not worry about what's coming, because, you know, if you really truly trust the universe, everything will be provided for you when you need it. And we are so in prep mode all the time. We're always like, we need to prepare, we need to save, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to make sure that this and that's going to be, you know, planned out, or what we're going to do, right? And so then you're not trusting the universe to provide for you in that moment. So therefore you don't get it, because one, you're in fear. So therefore you're not in alignment. So when you can get into that alignment where you can trust the universe, that's when things will change for you. And so that's the lesson that I'm going through right now, because you know, up until like 2 years ago, I mean, I knew that we were always told we had guardian angels and guides, but not in the capacity that I know them as now, where I can communicate with them, right? And also, I had no idea that you have to give them permission to help you. You have to ask. And they sit there and they watch things go down. And, you know, I even get sometimes visions of them going, oh gosh, oh, not again. Oh, this is going to be rough. Okay, we're going to go with it. So imagine your God's doing that to you, right? They've given me a vision one time very early in my QHHT when I started out over 2 years ago. And the vision that they gave me was this. They said, Heather, this is your life. Imagine that you are a bowling ball and you've got your bowling lane. And because they, not to say this is downgrading, but they look at us like children sometimes, right? Because we literally are blind and we don't know where we're going. That's part of the rules of coming to earth. But with this bowling alley, we've got the child rails up, those little guardrails. And they said that imagine those guardrails are us. And so your goal is to get down to the end and to make the strike. And if you don't make the strike, how many ever pins you get, like, cool, you might have to go again, right? And so this is kind of like how the lives work. So if you go through a life and you don't meet your goal, then you'll come back and do it again because that was the goal. You wanted to learn this lesson or whatever. But along the path, if you imagine how these bumpers work, so you got these bumpers, and every time you get off the path, that bumper is there to bounce you back into the lane. And so you're going through life being bounced back and forth. Now, when you hit these, the guardrails, these railings to bounce you back, those are usually what they would consider like really big time events in your life. Something that's drastically changed, whether someone leaves you, you get into a wreck, you have like a crazy surgery, like something major comes in that changes the course of your life, but it's to get your attention, right? And so when those big moments happen, those are like you've gotten way far off the path and they've had to bring you back. So certain things have happened. If you go back and trail back throughout your life, you may realize like, holy crap, I remember this happening and this happening and this, like these big things. Well, if you go back and think of where you were going and what happened after the event, you might get some answers as to, oh, wow, if I would have kept going this way, where would it have led you? So when you think about how all of this works, your guides are there to kind of keep you on this path. So whenever you do get off path, they will guide you. With that being said, that's also how all these emotions are working, because we came here to let go. We came here to transmute density. We came here to heal. Why do we come here to heal? Because you can't feel this. These emotions cannot be felt in the other dimensions. I was told in a session one time, you have no idea how lucky you are. And I thought, what a weird thing to say. Like, you don't feel this density. And they said, exactly. We don't feel the way that you're feeling. You're in such a hurry to get to 5D. You are so ready to leave this 3D planet. But once you do, you're going to want it all back. And I'm going to tell you why. Think about the hugs that you give to people. The kiss. The excitement you feel when you go to a party. The sensation you get when you hear a baby giggle. You know, the things that we literally take for granted every single day. Driving a car, sometimes just on a random road. We just take it all for granted. To see the trees blowing in the wind, to feel the breeze on our face, to feel the grass under our feet, the mud between our toes, the water on our skin. All of this stuff we take for granted, because once we get to the higher dimensions and we're back to being a light body, it's not the same. And the emotions that we feel in this 3D planet, holy moly. If you think about every word to describe what we would call low vibration energy, all trails back to one. Every single one of them, whether it be sadness, grief, hate, anger, all of that goes back down to one word, and that word is fear. We fear everything. And depending on if you think about like all of these words, abandonment, all of them could be put on a scale. But if you trail them all the way back down, the bottom is fear. But they are all linked to fear on some level. You know, if you think about like grief, for instance, that popped in my head. Why do we grieve? Because we know that they're not coming back. It's like that fear of loss. We don't get to see them every day. And that breaks our heart, right? We long for their affection. We long for their attention, and they are no longer there. And it's the fear of, how am I going to live without them? How am I going to make it now, right? And that's not all there about grief, but that's just an example that popped in my head. And so when you think about how all of these emotions just bottle up to ultimately go to fear, we're letting go of a lot of stuff. And a lot of that programming that came through with all the TV that we watched when we were little, you know, and now all over the internet, and man, we can go down rabbit holes on that, but it's definitely, these emotions are coming up now, being stirred up by the solar flares, all for us to purge. And because we can feel them in the 3D, that is why it's so important. You will not be able to transmute hate and anger like you can in the 3D, because you can actually recreate that feeling, and you can feel into that anger, and that anger gets stored a lot of times in your stomach area a lot. That's why we all have such distress in the gut. Our gut is where the emotion center is, where you have the solar plexus, the sacral, and the root. When you get into those 3 lower chakras, that's where our emotion sits. When all those emotions have been sitting there and they have like packed down in there, no wonder we all have irritable bowel or Crohn's disease or constipation. You know, we have infertility, that's down in that area, right? You have appendicitis, you have gallbladder. Think about all the organs that are in the gut area. I mean, it really makes a lot of sense. And if you think about the function of the organ will tell you a lot of things. That's where the emotions get stored. And if you're having a lot of issues with your organs, and I'm not saying not to see a doctor, because you need physical support. But deep-rooted in those organs are stored emotions that are dying to come out. And this solar flares that are happening right now are literally like shaking that darkness, shaking those low vibration energy in the body. And they're like, let me out, let me out, let me out. But you have to using your free will to allow, to let them process up. And so when you catch yourself getting emotional, just let it go. Even if it's in front of people, let it go, because that emotion, something got said that triggered that emotion to come up and out, and let it be. Don't even question where it's coming from. Don't question why you have it. Don't even worry about, is it really yours or not? Don't even worry about it. Go, wow, that feels good. That feels so good. If you haven't done an ugly cry, I'm talking to my men and women. If especially the men, y'all have been so suppressed more than women, because it's just a program that got programmed in us such a small age that strong boys don't cry. Oh my gosh. I mean, if you only knew the things that are behind the scenes that are playing in our field at all times, feeding on our energy, because they know how the system works and they know how to make us low vibrational. When you realize all of that, it makes a lot of sense of why everything has went to the point it is, right? But now we're at a place where we are ascending. We are transcending to a new body, to our 5th dimensional body. And it's happening within. It's within us right now. If you've ever done a meditation and you started seeing lights flicker, and if you've ever done a meditation where you will literally cut your white light on and you will glow from the inside, you will see your light body. It's already happening. The DNA is changing right now. We are changing every single day with these lights. The solar flares are activating us, clearing out our DNA, clearing out. And the only way to clear it out is to allow it to purge. So, hope this resonates with you. There's a lot more that I can talk about. And if there's a topic that you would really like me to discuss, leave it down in the comments below. If you feel that someone could benefit from this, share it. Again, I'm being raw and real because I do not have it all figured out. But I'm willing to share what I've learned and what I've been guided to do and the things that I have learned along the way. And it's amazing the things that you can get, especially when you can do a hypnosis session. Those are the most powerful ones because you bypass the ego. When you can bypass that ego and get to the root of your soul and allow your soul to speak to you, that's where the information comes in, and it's so beneficial. And a lot of times it doesn't make sense right away. I have done so many sessions for myself that I've literally 2-3 years ago, I'm going back, being called to go back and listen to my sessions, and all those breadcrumbs that I was given in my sessions didn't make sense then. I thought, whatever, that was so egoic, right? It's making sense now because I wasn't ready for it. And I got guided to go back and listen. So if you have done a session, go back and listen. There are things in there that you may not have resonated with. You may not have been ready for, but now you are. Go back and listen. If you haven't done a session and you want to do a session, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach out by my email. I like to personally book people so that we can make connections. I do free consultations. So if you want to do a 30-minute chat with me and just see, what it is that you want to do. I have a visualization practice on my YouTube channel. So if you want to see what it's like to visualize and everybody sees it differently, go and do that. And I'm going to continue putting out content because I feel it's so beneficial at this time for us to learn and understand what these emotions are. So I'm kind of going to do a diary with this. Every couple of days I'll check in and let you know where I'm at. And maybe even start doing some of my bad days just so you can see as I process through these emotions, because I feel everybody's going through these emotions. And it's about going within and finding out our true self. So stop looking outside of ourselves. Go within. Ask yourself. Go deep within your soul. And don't think so much, because that's another problem that I had for so long is I was going from here, and you really need to go from the heart space. Sink down into your heart space and come from your heart so that you're bypassing the ego, pushing that part of you to the side so that you can actually listen to what really is coming through. So I love you so much, and I hope this helps you. And again, if there's anything else that you would like for me to do a video on, I will be glad to do it. And I hope that you have a great day.